something a little bit closer anyway to home, quite literally, of course, here. Did you guess who the new Reform UK chairman is? And did you guess which GB News presenter broke the story?
As soon as I heard Reform was holding a press conference on Tuesday morning, I thought, aha, what's that about? Probably to announce the name of a new chairman. There's a challenge. Made some calls with some contacts and quickly found out who that chairman was. David Ball, a qualified hospital doctor who's made his name in television. Some of you are old enough will remember the show, BBC show Newsround. He was the face of that. He was also the front man for a very popular ghost programme, also about paranormal activity. I broke that story in my newspaper, The Times. We put it online so we could be first, and it will all be confirmed tomorrow by Nigel Farage at that press conference. Will it bring some calm to the troubled waters of Reform after the unexpected resignation of Zia Yusuf, and even more unexpected return of Zia Yusuf to the Reform fold just 48 hours later? What was all that about? Reform don't need all this turmoil after the departure, enforced or otherwise, of Rupert Lowe, who was one of the party's 5 MPs. I think David Ball would be a good choice. He's a great communicator, years of experience on television. Unlike Zia Yusuf, he's a team player. Very important if you're going to be a party chairman.
So our very own Andrew Pearce there. Thank you very, very much, Andrew, for giving us that update. Look, he broke the news. He was bang on the inside of that news story. It's going to be discussed a lot on news channels tomorrow. We got it here first. Joining me now to discuss this news further is Reform UK insider and former spokesman. It's Gawain Towler. Gawain, thank you very, very much. So Andrew Pearce let the cat out of the bag there then. Dr. David Bull appears to be the new chairman. Is that a good choice? What does it mean for the party?
I think it's an excellent choice. In fact, on Friday, I was saying he's the man for the job when I was talking to some of your colleagues. So, yes, absolutely, I'm delighted. I think he's personable. He's very well liked across the party, and he's good at people. And I think that's part of the job of being chairman. The thing is, as Reform grows, the job of chairman gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it becomes too much for one man to do. And as Zia said, he was exhausted and he just had enough. He'd got all that grief and he just said, damn it all. Whereas what maybe he might have done is passed his resignation to Nigel in a letter. Nigel open and go, no, mate, calm down, have a few days rest, go on holiday, come back, and we've got a really good job for you. But I think actually you're right, that the huge panoply of work that he'd been doing was too much for one man. Now we're looking at not just a new chairman, but a new deputy chairman and various other roles being created to basically spread the load. And that can only be a good thing for the party.
Right, OK. I mean, I'm hoping at some point we're going to show you, if you don't already know what Dr. David Bull looks like, we'll bring a picture up of him for you. But, you know, Gawain, I mean, there was another big announcement today. I mean, look, initially it looked a bit chaotic at Reform, didn't it? All over the weekend, yeah. Zia in, out, you know, shake it all about. And then now it's Dr. David Bull who's in. But Nigel was using a big announcement today in Wales, saying he's going to end the city of sanctuary, or country of sanctuary that he's got over there. Right, he doesn't want Welsh people to be behind migrants when it comes to the housing stock right, there. Right, and I think he wants to reopen coal plants, does he? I mean, what do you make of all of that?
Well, that's a possibility depending on the cost of that. But to ditch net zero, which has been absolutely hammering Welsh industry to the ground, is a very good thing. One thing I was thinking, I was watching your previous segment about the riots in Los Angeles. Whoever is in charge of home affairs for Reform, going into the election and coming out of the election, must be prepared for very similar behaviour in this country. And it will be orchestrated by the hard left, because they will not accept a Reform victory in the election. They will do everything they can. They try it now. There's always demonstrations where we go. And I can see that sort of behaviour kicking off up and down the country as a sort of response, not my Prime Minister stuff. So I think whoever is in charge of the Home Affairs brief for Reform, going into that election and coming out of the election, will have to be prepared for this. And the police will have to also be prepared for it.
Well, it's actually funny you should say that, because, Gawain, you've seamlessly moved us on to our next story that is actually on the front of one of the newspapers. So, Gawain, thank you very much for your time this evening. Gawain Towler there, Reform UK insider, former spokesperson. I do want to whiz us straight on, because he mentioned there that whoever's the Home Affairs leader at Reform, he's obviously assuming they're going to win the next election, is going to have to face down rioters. Let's talk about what's on the front of the Times tomorrow, because Yvette Cooper's row with the Treasury over spending have been so heated that officials are fearing that she's going to resign. So apparently the Home Secretary is understood to have warned Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, that Labour election promises are at risk from a lack of investment in policing. And in one meeting last week, Ms Reeves is said to have abruptly brought talks with Ms Cooper to a close. There are also claims that a senior Home Office official stopped taking calls from the Treasury. I mean, Krista, this Yvette Cooper on resignation watch, apparently.
I mean, you can imagine the meetings between Yvette Cooper and Rachel Reeves. I mean, if you were stuck in a lift with them, you'd pay for the cable to break. You really would. I mean, as dull as ditch water. But what's interesting is where we are ideologically, and you were talking, Leo, about austerity, obviously joking, let's bring it back. But when you have a government that is ideologically all about spending, but you have an economy and a debt, our debt is, I mean, our debt makes 2008 the financial crisis. I mean, it pales into insignificant the amount we owed then those cannot align. And Rachel Reeves, I mean, dare I say, I feel a tiny bit sorry for her at the moment, because she's being pulled in every single direction. Don't feel sorry for about the elderly people, but she's being pulled in every single direction from a party that ideologically wants to spend everything, and she can't fulfil it.
Well, let's keep the Times up on the screen there. But Leo, as you will be well aware, you know, the front page of the Sun this morning, i.e. Monday, what was about £4.7 billion a year is the cost to house illegal migrants in Britain, just in hotels. The tax intake of the entire city of Manchester. And yet we've got this story on the front of the Times today, which is that Rachel Reeves is quibbling with Yvette Cooper over funding for police.
Yeah, and that amount of spending, the £4.75 billion or whatever, I mean, that's just one chunk. There's also over £1 billion spent every month on benefits for foreign nationals in the UK. And then there's, you know, all the other, you know, health costs and all the rest of it. Obviously, the government has prioritised some pots for spending, so defence, the NHS and schools, which leaves pretty much just the Home Office as the place where they can make cuts. Now, I think they actually could make cuts in the Home Office. So our police spend so much time, 60,000 man-hours a year, on non-crime hate incidents and hate speech. This is all, nobody's ever been like, oh my God, thank God we've got the police dealing with all these tweets, dealing with all these, you know, naughty opinions. Nobody cares. People care about burglaries and stabbings and things like that, real crime. So we could just automatically get rid of all that, get rid of all the diversity, equity and inclusion instantly, save loads of money.
Yeah. Well, what do you make of this, Andy? I mean, look, it appears anyway that there was a heated discussion behind the scenes with Rachel Reeves and Yvette Cooper. Yvette Cooper's team have stopped talking to the Treasury. The Treasury doesn't want to talk to the Home Office. It's carnage, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know how much of that is true or how much of it is briefing. You know, different ministers have aspirations.
Well, still not good, that, is it? They're briefing against each other?
Well, you know, it's always the way, isn't it? I think if anyone should resign, it should be Rachel Reeves. I don't think Yvette Cooper should go.
Oh, but she's made the economy so brilliant that she's been able to get rid of the winter fuel payment card.
She's been nothing short of a disgrace. I think it's baffling how the Parliamentary Labour Party allowed her to become Chancellor. I think she should resign.
Well, but she spent the best part of a decade at the Bank of England.
Yeah,
I mean, she knows her onions.
She ran the Bank of England.
I think she ran it.
Probably did, right?
I thought she actually set up a Bank of England on Mars at one point as well, and that did really well as well. So it's almost like if people have been a little bit fruity on their CV, maybe they shouldn't be in positions of power, Leo. I don't know, but there we go. I mean, do we think that Rachel Reeves is going to survive much longer? Do you think she'll cling on?
Yeah, I mean, I think she will, because I think it would weaken the Labour Party so much at this stage to have such a high-profile resignation. And also, I mean, whoever comes in is going to have to deal with the same issues. As Christo said, I mean, our public debt... before the loan. Yeah, and the interest rates are climbing on servicing it. You know, before the financial crash, it was 33% of GDP. Now it's over 100% of GDP. It's absolutely ballooned, ballooned.
It is quite astonishing, though, because if you just look again as a complete roundup of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, Rachel Reeves, negatively, by the way, is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, No, eight of
Not
them.
The Guardian.
Not the Guardian. So can you imagine if that was a Conservative minister and a Conservative Chancellor? What happened with Kwasi Kwarteng? If he were on the front of all of these newspapers consecutively, and Rachel Reeves is regularly getting a battering from every single national newspaper, that because it'd be a given that they were on the way out. It'd be a given. But why is it different when it's a Labour Chancellor?
I suppose because they've only been in power a year, because, I mean, I'm not saying that this is a good reason, but also, I mean, it is kind of unprecedented when you think about the idea that we're even talking about the fact that the Chancellor, after a huge majority, after a year, might be going a huge U-turn of a major flagship policy, which was 11 months ago, literally weeks within them being elected, that they're doing with this huge majority. A few weeks ago, we were talking about Angela Rayner possibly going. We're talking about Yvette Cooper possibly resigning. I mean, who's going to be left?
Yeah.
You have to bring in Yvette Fielding.
Very good.
Surely he's going to have to reshuffle soon, based on tomorrow's front pages alone.
Well, I mean, there's been reshuffle rumours for the better part of 6 months now. I think probably there will be one. I mean, almost a year into the government, they've got to move the pieces.
Okay. Well, look, I've got a lot more coming your way. So.